Hello and welcome to this GBMS tutorial video where we will show you how to create a new warehouse. From the main menu we go to Warehouse Management, Item and Warehouse Settings, Warehouse Setup, and then Warehouses. In the Warehouse window we see that there are 5 tabs. The General tab has the name and settings for the warehouse. The Locations tab has all the system and user-defined locations for the warehouse. System locations are locations that are defined by GBMS and used by GBMS and cannot be deleted by the user. User-defined locations are the locations that you will create in your warehouse. The Zones tab has all the zones defined for the warehouse. Zones are logical or physical areas in a warehouse which help a company define areas for picking or areas that have special environmental conditions like a freezer or areas where there are special equipment requirements. Since zones can be either physical or logical areas, there's no limitations on what you can define. The other tab holds any custom fields that you may want to define for the warehouse. The Options tab has a freeze button that allows you to freeze the entire warehouse for a physical inventory. There's also a location wizard which helps you create locations automatically. To create a new warehouse, we click on the General tab and then click on the New button. We are required to enter both a warehouse code and a description for the warehouse. The warehouse code should be a short code in all uppercase and letters so that way we can use it in a scannable barcode. The description should also be a short mixed case description that can be easily included on reports. Let's create a new warehouse for our Los Angeles location. Let's make the warehouse code be LA and the description be Los Angeles. To save the warehouse, we click on the Save button. Next, we want to select the type of warehouse we're creating. A regular warehouse is a standard distribution warehouse. A consignment warehouse is a warehouse at a customer's location where goods are shipped for consignment invoicing. A transit warehouse is a warehouse that your company uses for items that are in transit, such as items that are being shipped overseas, where we can create a transit warehouse called On the Water so we have visibility of all our inventory while in transit. Here we're going to select Regular. Next, we need to assign values to the Ship To dropdown and the Vendor for Sales Return dropdown. The Ship To value is used to fill in the address of the warehouse for purchase orders. The Vendor for Sales Return value is used to generate an internal PO to receive against. During the system setup, an internal customer and vendor were set up for these purposes. As you add more warehouses, you'll need to add more Ship-To addresses in the internal customer for each new warehouse that is added. Here we've set up our internal customer and vendor, and we'll select those now. If you would like to allow the automatic put away of items after they are received into the warehouse, we need to select from the Automatic Put Away drop-down whether we will always allow it, never allow it, or allow it based on whether the item is set up for automatic put away or not. Here we're going to select Depends on the item or Other. The Auto Break Container Moved Here option is for companies that use containers. If the container is moved into the warehouse, the system will delete the container and track the contents when the container is moved into the warehouse if this option is enabled. The Block Inventory Movement option will prevent users from moving inventory from other warehouses into this option if this option is enabled. The Allow Shipments option must be checked in order to ship from this warehouse. If the warehouse will be used for e-commerce, the e-commerce warehouse checkbox must be checked to include this warehouse's available inventory for e-commerce sales. There are 3 optional location dimensions that are available to you. These can be used to identify simple dimensions such as row, column, shelf by checking the checkbox and then filling in the appropriate name. Here let's enter row, column, and shelf. These will be used in the location setup to create the location. This is not required, but if you have these 3 or less coordinates, it's helpful to use them. We'll see how they are used when we set up our locations in our locations tutorial video. The item price list is used to define a price list for a warehouse. So for example, if you create a warehouse for only discounted sales items and an item is in this warehouse and is not included on the customer's primary price list, the sales order will use the price from this warehouse's price list instead of the price defined in the item master. This is a simple way to extend prices for all items to all customers without having to update individual customers' price lists or create new price lists. The cost schedule dropdown allows you to define a cost schedule for a warehouse. The transit warehouse option allows you to define the transit warehouse that will be used by this warehouse for warehouse transfers. After we've completed this tab, we need to click on the Save button to save the settings we've just entered. This completes our tutorial on how to create a warehouse in GBMS. Thanks for watching, and please check out our other videos for more helpful information on GBMS.